The date is March 10th, and wow, I'm not really sure if I need to use adjectives or verbs to describe the state of the union, the state of our industry right now. No doubt we're all being impacted some way, somehow. And travel, of course, is probably at the very, very top, although I don't want to single us out as the group of you guys and gals, as the group of people being impacted the worst and the most, because it's impacting all of us in all walks, no matter what our business is. And I want to be sensitive to that. And I want today's Power Hour to be a message of confidence as best I can. We're going to start off with slides that I think will help give you a little lift. It's based on the article I just had published with Travel Research Online. It applies to any business, especially ours. And then I've got 2 pages of questions and issues that had been sent in. Last week I had to cancel at the last minute our Power Hour. Thank you for your understanding. It's been it's been a time period of highs and lows. Isn't that true for life in general? Highs and lows, sometimes happening at the same time. See, on January 26th, my daughter had her first child, making me a grandfather for the first time. So that's tremendous, incredible joy. So I spent a couple of weeks in Boston. And then last Sunday, we had a sudden, unexpected passing of somebody in the family. Somebody passed away. And I got back on the road to comfort my kids and be with family. And so I had to cancel. But I put this on the books last minute because I felt we needed to be together. I needed to be with you to talk. So without further ado, let me just see if there's anybody who has typed in anything specific into the question board. If you have anything you'd like to table today, if you would like me to turn on your microphone or webcam so we can hear you, possibly see you, let me know. It'd be my pleasure. You know how much I love it when we can hear your voice. Otherwise, go ahead and type in your stuff. And as you enter, if you haven't yet said hello, please do so. It will get your fingers do the walking that I know that you're here and that we're connected. So I want to start off with my slide here. Quick reminders first that our next regularly scheduled, this was already on the schedule, Power Hour is next Tuesday, and it's at noon Eastern to 1, and then Thursday, I will be on April 2nd, I will be in Moon Palace, Cancun, and I will do my very best to broadcast live from there. I actually have a group summit with Nexion, which we do every year. And there's a little bit of a gap before our the April Power Hour, because I'll be in Jamaica with some of you, right, Karen? Right, Ramona? Anybody else here that's going to be down in Jamaica? This is the other Moon Palace Resort, Moon Palace, Jamaica, and we're on. We're very, very, very excited. Mike, Marcia, and I have. This is like a dream come true for us to put this event together. So we're very excited, and it couldn't come at a better time. Let's get right to it, friends. And as I'm giving you some tips here, this may not be specifically group related, but you know what? It really is, because you know we're going to get group specific in a second, but I think it's important that I address business in general. And I want to start off with kind of a riff off an article that I had published by Travel Research Online. I don't know if you've read it. Have you seen it? Have you read it? I did put it in our boot camp Facebook group, but I just want to run through this because I think it's very important. It's very timely. And my mission as your business coach is to help give you some confidence, is to help be your leader so that you can also be a leader for your followers. You see that ripple effect? Do you understand what we're trying to do here? Right? And because I have been reading, I have been watching and listening to other leaders. See, it's that ripple effect, because we tend to follow the leaders who are going to instill confidence over fear right now. So the basic premise here of my article, friends, and my thinking is that consumers right now, if they've booked with you or not, some of them are going to consult their trusted travel advisor, and some will wish they had one, right? So all of those consumers who said, I can do it on my own, whoa, boy, oh boy, they are on their own, particularly if it was if they did it completely on their own. If they did it direct, my gosh, I can't even imagine the hold times on the supplier side, which I know you're aware of. I guarantee you every supplier right now is wishing that every one of the bookings came through you, not direct, right? And all of the .coms who try to perhaps avoid getting the phone calls are wishing it had gone through you, right? And but you may be saying, oh my gosh, what do I do? How do I handle this? Well, flip the narrative here, because it's your opportunity, despite what's going on, to rise and shine. See, it's really your opportunity to display your leadership skills, friends. Your leadership skills. And I know it couldn't come at a harder time for me to ask this of you, but I really, really want you to focus on these next points that I put in my article that I just want to talk through with you to give you this encouragement that you can do it. Yeah, and by the way, let me just go back for a second. By the way, so those of you who've been in the business a couple of years, okay, tell me you don't remember, that's a double negative, that we've been through some tough times in this travel industry now, haven't we? Because frankly, it's crazy. It was March of what, 07 or 08? I don't remember. We had the recession, and we were having the same conversation. I got laid off. I had a great, phenomenal executive level position, and I got laid off. Okay, so and we can probably go back even farther, that we've had these times where we've all had sort of a very significant global event that has impacted, of course, 9/11 too, our business and our lives. So I just want to make sure that we're all aligned here, that we've been through this before, and unfortunately it may happen again, but how we respond now will determine our future success or lack thereof. So number one, I'm going to give you just a few tips. Number one, don't wait for the call. In as much as these are difficult conversations to have with your clients who are booked, with your prospects who may be on the fence about booking or not, you need to be the one that's proactive. It's difficult to do, friends, but make that call. You'll be glad you did, and they'll be glad to hear from you. Because if they haven't called you yet and you haven't called them, they're probably freaking out. And they want to hear from you. So be the leader, step up, make them glad they've got you in their pocket. They've got you in their corner, and they can trust you. And it demonstrates how much you really care, and that you are fearless, not fear-filled, that you've got the guts to pick up the phone and have a conversation with them. And I'm not saying you're going to do all the talking. In fact, it's just the opposite. You want them to talk to you, get them talking, let them express where they're at, and then you can address some of the finer points or some of the advice that they need from you. And it's important, friends, as they express themselves, that you not be judgmental. Because if they're saying stuff that you're tempted to say, oh, you're blowing this out of proportion, or you're crazy, or no, don't worry, it's not the way to go. You know that. I mean, there's no better time to display your empathetic leadership skills. That's a part of being a good leader, is listening, being empathetic. And one way to do that is to mirror what they're saying, right? Is to repeat it back, because when you repeat it back, okay, and say you understand, then they feel comfortable with you, and they'll feel, hey, you get me, you're listening to me, you hear me, okay? You hear me. These are tough times for you and for them too. So don't be judgmental. Let them express themselves. And I'm not saying for you to tell them they're right or wrong unless they ask you specific questions, okay, which we're going to get to in a second. But just be empathetic without expressing, and be careful of any emotions coming through in your voice. You don't want to let them see you sweat. You've heard this before. Because for you to be the leader, for them to follow you, they need to feel confident in your abilities. Here, you're being put to the test, friends, and I know it. As you are nervous and anxious, I am too. And I'm trying not to let you see me sweat. You see, I'm in the business of training and speaking, and I've already gotten 2 calls within 2 days saying, hey, man, our event may go on or may not. And there's no income, just like you. So understand, we're simpatico here when we talk about the threats that are looming here and what we have to deal with. But don't let them see you sweat, okay? Remain grounded and confident, because this too shall pass. It's going to take time, but they want to. They're going to emulate your behavior. If you're freaking out, then they're going to freak out too, and they may not stay on the phone with you. The other point here is stay in service mode for as long as it takes. And I know this is really hard to hear, but let me validate that. If you're thinking of promoting something, whether even if it's USA travel, I know, Linda, you had typed in here, hey, wondering what other boot campers are promoting. Italy tours are canceled to the end of March. Should you promote? I don't know, friends. We can talk. We're going to table this in a minute, but I'm not sure. Promoting a particular place or destination is the way to go. Right now, it's responding to the needs and questions and anxiety of your clients and prospects. And believe me, they'll let you know if they're still interested in going somewhere. And you need to know where those somewheres could be, might be, but you need to hear from them and be ready to plant some seeds if they want suggestions. But in terms of promotions, I don't want you to turn anybody off if they think you're selling to them, okay? You see what I'm saying? So a big takeaway here, friends, as I begin to wrap this part up, and I want to hear your feedback on this, is that strong leaders possess the skills to navigate through the stormiest seas and keep their followers safe and sound. Strong leaders possess the skills to navigate through the stormiest seas. Okay, it's what they hired you to do. It's what's keeping you obsolete proof. It's validating the very reason why everybody needs a trusted travel advisor. So taking deliberate actions today will pave the way for an extraordinary rebound. If we can't make sales, we can make followers. Those are really 2 separate concepts. Let's take them each separately. So taking deliberate actions. What are those deliberate actions? Okay, those deliberate actions are picking up the telephone and making those outbound calls, showing that you're there. Okay, and you want to have conversations with everybody, being proactive rather than reactive. Okay, and another part of that is being over prepared. No doubt, we all need to take lessons from the suppliers. What are they saying? What are they? What's the verbiage they're using? You don't need to reinvent the wheel here, friends, but it's important to emulate their message too, so that everyone is consistent in the messaging. Okay, so that's a deliberate action. Number one, making the outbound calls. Number two, being over prepared to answer questions and even disseminating information that you've been receiving that you feel is fine to repurpose in that vein. And then if we can't make sales, we can make followers. Because man, if you call me, if you're bold enough to call me during these craziest of times, man, I'm gonna love you forever. That's what we call loyalty grade service. Loyalty grade service is when you give it before you expect it. You got to give it to get it. You jump first. If you want me to be your loyal client for life, I want you to be my loyal, trusted travel advisor for life. And this is an opportunity for you to demonstrate that. And finally, this kind of wraps it up here. Today's servicing drives tomorrow's sales. And I think this should be an apostrophe, tomorrow's, because it's possessive. Sorry. Today's servicing drives tomorrow's sales. So even though you may not think you're actually selling, you really are, because you're servicing. And friends, it doesn't negate the fact that you're giving back money, having to refund, or not getting those commit. I know it. I feel your pain because it's happening to me too. Okay, but it is going to rebound, friends. You and I know this. So lay the groundwork today for an absolutely mega strong, tremendously fruitful future with your clients and prospects and shoppers. Okay, so that the rebound is big for you, and it becomes a market share game. Those travel agents or advisors who don't do these things are not going to get those calls. So you have an opportunity to increase your market share, to gain a lot of new customers as well by demonstrating these, because they're going to talk about you. Those people you call out to, they're going to talk about you to their friends and family. Wow, I got a call from Linda, from Ramona, from Karen, from Aaron, and I can't believe it. She was so great. He was so great. Scott called me, whatever. You see what I'm saying? It's bragging rights. They're going to brag about you. All right, so let me just shut that screen off there, and I hope that helped to some degree, friends. What are we doing here? Come on, move over. Okay, kind of weird. All right, so let me check out before we dive into the questions that we have here that were sent in. That's interesting, fascinating. Huh? Okay, everything's fine. Let me check the boards here, and then we're going to dive deep into some of the questions that came in specifically group specific. Let's see. Jean Ann's in the house. Good morning, Jean Ann. I appreciate you being here. Jean Ann said, absolutely survived recessions, 9/11, Zika, SARS, ash clouds, etc. So Jean Ann is commenting about how we have gone through this before, many times actually, and it does bounce back. So thank you, Jean Ann, for validating that. Jean Ann also says, you can see, wait, hold on, let me slide this over so it's easier for me. 1 second, please. There we go. You can suggest the event organizers provide the contact virtually. That way the speakers can still get paid. Safer for the attendees. They can do similar to the virtual travel expos. Right. So, Jean Ann is commenting about, like me as a speaker and a trainer, rather than cancel the event, if that's what they choose to do, can still be done virtually, which I'm hoping that's going to be the case. The challenge, Jean Ann, is that now they're saying that they don't have the budget anymore, because whether it's being funded by suppliers, I don't know. So it's a double whammy, saying, okay, we're going to do it virtually, but now we can't pay you, or we can't pay as much, or whatever. Really, these are potentially the calls I might be getting now as businesses, everyone tries to adjust. So I appreciate that, Jean Ann, and I do agree with you. Virtual training is an answer. Let's see here. Lisa, hi Lisa. Lisa, we're going to see you in Jamaica too. I have a group of 200 sailing on Royal Caribbean in June. I've been in contact with them frequently, advised them of the Royal Caribbean cruise with confidence policy. Nobody so far, knock on wood, has canceled yet. Let's just say has canceled. Don't say yet. Prices have gone down and I have adjusted fares. Everyone seems calm. So Lisa, I appreciate you sharing that, because that's sort of that's a nice positive note here, because if they jumped in and one person canceled, the other one, it becomes a domino effect. So Lisa, I applaud your efforts by reaching out and having constant, consistent conversations that they know you're there and you're going and everyone is going and we're going to have a great time. Everyone just, stay strong, stay well. And we're going to need this vacation more than ever. And it sounds like you're doing all the great, right things, Lisa, by communicating the policies of the cruise line and by watching prices and adjusting so that you're being proactive in that respect too. And I know what that means for you. I do. When prices go down, that means income, profits, commission may go down too. I get it. And the fact is you're helping to keep the calm. And what you're doing is you're demonstrating your leadership skills. Well done, Lisa. Thank you for sharing. Nancy's in the house. Hello, Nancy. Welcome. Glad you're here. Jean Ann said, RCI just sent out a letter today saying they will pay commission on both the canceled cruise and the rebook date. That hasn't happened in decades. So friends, I don't know if this could be breaking news here. And I think that's amazing. Right, Jean Ann? That's amazing. RCI just sent out a letter today saying they will pay commission on both the canceled cruise and the rebook date. That hasn't happened in decades. Unbelievable. So I'm going to ask this question here and ask you if you'd like to share here, because Linda had sent an email in wanting to know others' advisors' input on what they're doing right now about promoting anything other than the areas of the world that are challenging, like Italy. Are you actually promoting something else? So go ahead and type in here if you are. Linda's other question is this. I'm also wondering if anyone has had a successful destination night. Did they partner with someone like a restaurant, liquor store, a golf pro shop, and how successful was it? So I'm going to put that question out there too. If you have had a successful or an unsuccessful destination night. Now, I like how you label that destination night, because back in the day, we used to just call it a cruise night. Yeah, okay, fine. Well, if we're talking, if it was an information program about cruising, that makes sense. Could be a river cruise night. Could be an Alaska cruise night. Or it just could be a destination night. So it could be, a land product, a land-based product. But this is a great conversation topic, because in as much as I've heard and I participated when I was a DSM before we became BDMs, I used to do a lot of these. And in as much as there were super successful ones, there were significantly more unsuccessful ones. And one of the big reasons, Linda, and everybody, is that unless it was a specific group presentation, okay, so they were coming for a reason because they wanted to hear what this group opportunity is going to be about. All right, it still doesn't guarantee success. But if people felt that they were coming to be sold to, then they're not going to show up. If people felt that they had an opportunity to learn, if it was an information, I like what you say, destination, I like that, then they're more apt to show up because, hey, man, I got a busy life. If I'm going to get up, get in the car and go someplace, and what's in it for me? Why would I want to go? Oh, so I'm going to leave with this information, and nobody's going to hit me over the head trying to sell, trying to ask for my money. You definitely get a better shot. But clearly, the value has to be there. So I'm going to move on to the next question. But Linda and everybody, if you're going to do a destination night, even if you do it online, you have to clearly communicate the value proposition. What's the value proposition? Why should I go? Let me just make sure here that everyone still sees me good, because I keep this on. Nope, we're good. Sometimes if there's a technical issue, I get a text from somebody or I see an email, so I just keep that there on the side. Sorry for the distraction, but I want to make sure I'm not talking to myself. So it's important with the value proposition. And you know how the best way is to back into a value proposition? It is, what's in it for me with them? What's in it for me? Why should I go? Well, if you go, if you come here, then we're going to deliver this, this, and this, and you're going to have those bullet points, short bullet points of why you should be there and why you can't afford to miss this special event. All right, so let me check the boards here. Anybody has any comments? I'm going to go to our next thing from Aaron here. And I'm so sorry, Aaron, that I couldn't tend to your urgent question you had posted on Facebook, because it came right at the time where I ended up having to jump back to Boston and New Jersey. And I'm so sorry, but I promise you we're going to talk about this. Nancy said, Saturday is Main Garden Day. I'm going sharing a table with my friend / botany professor about upcoming local weekend tours to Cape Cod, Nantucket, end of April, and Montreal. In October, spring fever is spreading fast here in Maine, and I hope to gather and spread some enthusiasm and chat about some ideas for future garden tours down the road to Europe. That sounds great, Nancy. And I think, Nancy, this is encouraging. Hey, friends, if we can encourage each other here, there's no better gift we can give to each other. Taking advantage of those local events that are ongoing and having conversations so you can set up travel for the future. I think that's great. See, she's saying spread some enthusiasm. Nancy, thank you for sharing that. And I wish you great success in that endeavor. We gotta keep on, friends. We gotta keep on, and we gotta be present. We gotta be out there and keeping our name there as positive influencers, aka leaders. We got a comment here from Lisa. I live in a 55+ community. Once a month, I host a destination / supplier night. There you go. Buy some wine and snacks. I average 30 to 40 people. Lisa, that's fantastic. She's hosting an Australia, New Zealand night, March 12th. And she's got 20 RSVPs. I don't sell. This is Lisa speaking now. I don't sell. It's an informative evening. I want to read that again. Linda and everybody else, if you haven't done these events yet, there's a secret to success. Don't sell, make it informative. Then I try to promote a group. My business in this community has grown tremendously. So you take baby steps, and maybe you got 20 or 30 people. You said you have ultimately have 34 people on average come to these events, and it's the funnel approach, friends. Right, Lisa and everybody? It's the funnel. So if you have 30 to 40 people there, right, up at the top, then there seems like there's good interest. Not all 30 to 40 people may want to go, but what if it's 6 or 7 or 8? Remember, I don't judge the success of a group based on the size of the group, how many people, and what the price they paid. The success is based on the P&L for that group. Was the juice worth the squeeze? Was the profit there for you? Was it a good business venture? Because you could make more. You can make more per person. You can have a higher per person payoff if it's a 10-person group than a 100-person group. I've seen it happen, and you work a lot harder on a 100-person group. So that's good, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that. Hey, Kyle, welcome. Glad you're here. Kyle says, I like to do what others are not. So I will continue to advertise, but for farther out trips to plant the seed. So when this explodes again, I'm on their mind. So Kyle, I like that perspective. So you want to stay constant and consistent with the marketing that you have in the marketplace, so that you're planting the seed so that they see it. And I clearly, and you get this, that if we're too aggressive, then we're going to turn people off. Oh, I can't believe you're asking for my money. I'm not. There's no way I'm booking anything right now, which I know you're not doing. But if you're positioning it properly, then you're planting the seed so that when it is time, when they're like, okay, we need to make this book, we need to take care of this now. Hey, let's call Kyle. Let's call Captain Kyle, because man, he's just been steady Eddie, steady Eddie in the marketing approach. And that's a definite great approach. I guess my point before was if we get over aggressive, too aggressive in that sales approach, then that could definitely turn people off, right? Because there are some people who are very, very sensitive right now to this, and so we have to be empathetic to them. That's why I said let's be in service mode versus sales mode, and because you're out there, you're present, even if all you're doing is servicing or telling everybody that you've got these products on the shelf. When you're ready, you're just showing that you're staying the course and you're ready when they are. So I like that a lot too. Karen said, I do travel talks. Karen, we'll see you soon in Jamaica. I do travel talks here in town at an upscale restaurant. I used to do them at night, but then there are so many events in town, I never knew whether 2 or 20 people would show up. I still had to pay for the place. Oh, for the police detail. Really? Police detail is needed when it's wine tasting? Huh. Interesting. Food and room rental. So now I do the luncheons and people are better at RSVPing. So let's see here. So many events, never knew what to do. I had to pay for the police detail and food and room rental. So now I do the luncheons and people are better RSVPing. So, there's something also, friends, about consistency. And this goes back to Linda's original point about doing a destination night. It's fine to do, if you're going to start somewhere, you got to do an event. There's always the first. And of course, that's the most anxiety creating, because you don't know who's going to come. You can have RSVPs and sometimes they show, sometimes they don't. And what you can do is what we used to do when I did the home base, was it the home base success series I did with a group of suppliers and other speakers? We did 5 cities in 5 days all over the country. And we charged the travel agents a refundable fee. It's $20. When you show up, we give you $20 back. If you don't show, we keep you 20. Oh, that was effective. That was really, because there's no doubt when you do free events, friends, you're going to have no-shows. Oh, I got busy all of a sudden. Oh boy, I forgot. Well, if there's money involved, and there's a commitment, a different level of commitment there too. Okay, so let me get to this next thing here. So check this out. Aaron, boot camper Aaron says, I'm working on 2 groups at the same time. Good for you. The cruise is probably the easiest to wrap my mind around. And by the way, this was posted in our Facebook group back in late February. So this was also right before things started to get absolutely crazy with this virus. The cruise is probably the easiest to wrap my mind around, but there are so many options. So for the following questions, I'm focusing on the cruise. So I'm going to run through these, and I want, friends, if you have something to contribute, I'm going to answer them. I'm also going to take a deeper dive in our Facebook group, because these are great questions. Okay, what are the best tips you can suggest when creating the proposal? What is your special sauce? Okay, and what her point is, to get the group. So Erin is not now selling to the people. She's trying to get the group, right? To get the the organization or whatnot to sign with her, to hire her to be the lead travel professional on this. And she's saying, I'll be talking to the cruise lines to find out if we can get dedicated space for, in this case, cornhole boards, checking in drink packages, Wi-Fi, and any extra amenities they will offer. So what's the special sauce? Now, number one, Aaron, it's you. It's you, because anybody could provide a parking opportunity or peer transfers or Wi-Fi or cornhole. Anybody can do that kind of stuff, which we'll talk about in a second. I don't want to undercut that, but only you are you. Only you can handle this exquisitely. Only you are the most reliable person, and you want to be hired to do this because you love it. It's your specialty, and you're going to make sure there's no disappointments. So, number one, you want to focus in your presentation on you, and you want to immerse them in who you are, why they need to hire you, instill that confidence, build your integrity, that you can be trusted to do this, especially if you can give some examples of other groups, maybe not groups, even other individuals you've handled exquisitely well, right? You do that cutaway. Just to give an example, ladies and gentlemen, when I did this for these folks, we did this and it was extraordinary. So let's get to part two to that, which is the disappointment cost. Aaron, you can listen, everybody, this is very, very important. If we don't qualify correctly, we're just going to mess it up. In other words, we can build in Wi-Fi, we can build in drink packages, we can build in resort for a day. Yay, resort for a day, my old company. But I got to use the word but. If they don't want it, it's useless. It's meaningless, not meaningful and useful. So by qualifying, Aaron, and everybody, I mean we need to ask all the questions. Hey, when you traveled last time, what didn't you get that you wanted? What happened that you don't want to repeat? What did you love that you want to make sure you have again? You want to ask high mileage questions, and it doesn't have to be specific. Do you want parking? Do you want this? And then once you uncover what their needs, wants, desires, fears are, think ahead. If you were going on this trip, Aaron, you and everybody, what would you want? What would be important to have done in advance, right? Friends, my boot campers who've been with me for years know what I'm about to say. Because, Aaron, your job, your only job, is to do three things for every trip, every group. Number one, your job is to reduce stress and risk. So, Aaron, what can you build in? What can you offer? What can you include? What can you, say it, package that will reduce stress and risk? And it may be different for every group. Number two, what can you do to add, you know it, say it, value and convenience? What can you do to add value and convenience based on the things that they've communicated to you that are important to them? And maybe, Aaron, they don't know stuff that can reduce stress and risk and add value and convenience. So you need to float concepts. You need to float stuff. And maybe you do say, hey, since you guys have already been to, Jamaica a bunch of times, would it be nice, do you think? What if we went to a fancy resort, an all-inclusive resort, and you hung out at the hotel for a day? Float stuff like that. See their reaction to it, okay? But the key is in qualifying and to making sure that they don't come home disappointed. Now, I'd like you to use that when you make your presentation. My role, friends, is that you don't come home disappointed. So let's talk now. What happened last time that you missed, that you missed out on, that was already sold out, that was you paid too much for, or you just waited online. It was stressful. What can we do now? I'm going to create a package for you. Keyword here, Aaron, more inclusive. That's the special sauce. reduce their disappointment cost, and make something more inclusive so they're not nickel and dimed when they get there. And let me finish what I said before. Number one, right, your purpose is to reduce stress and risk. Number two, to add value and convenience. And number three is to transform the entire experience from good to great. The entire experience, even the booking process. Okay, from good to great. And says she's going to quote travel insurance, which I think is very important. And then she talks about markup. Now, she says she has a returning fee per person. And, my suggestion is that it should be bundled in, packaged in, whatever that fee is. Okay, whatever that fee is, or you come up with one big number and amortize it out over everybody who's traveling. Nobody really likes to know they're paying an extra fee, and this is a whole other conversation. But I really think the way you present that, right, Jean Ann, and those of you who've been in the business so many years, unless you charge a $200 annual fee and you're the VIP concierge travel professional, or you're just really confident saying, hey, listen, every booking I make, it's 25 for you, it's 25 bucks planning fee. That's cool if you're comfortable, confident doing that, because it's got to be said with confidence. But when it comes to groups, I don't think you need to do that, because some of the people are going to say, what? I can book it online. Nobody charges me anything. Well, you're not going to get the package, and you're not going to get me. And then Aaron wants to know who travels with the group. Oh, by the way, in terms of the markup, my suggestion, and this is in boot camp, is you net everything down, because everything you're going to be looking at is probably commissionable. So net it all down, and then mark everything up. Then mark it up from there, and make sure that you're earning what you deserve to earn. And if you're escorting, yes, she says here too, you need to cover your costs. You need to get paid for escorting. And when they say to you, Aaron, I'm not paying you to travel with us, that's your problem. But do we really need you there? And you're going to answer. And of course, if it's a complex group, yes. Oh, you need me there. I am not sending you out without me there to make sure everything goes perfect, because there's a lot of moving parts to this group, and I will not let you go. Any travel agent worth their salt would never let you go on your own, because I want to be there to make sure it's perfect. I stay a step ahead and behind the scenes, so that when you enter that room, when you show up for the short excursion, when you go for the special dinner, whatever it may be, when you go to play cornhole, it's there. And don't worry about paying me. I'm building, my fee is built into the cost, so it's amortized out. It's amortized out among the whole group. Okay, and here's the thing, friends. This is really, really big for me. Then we're going to move on. I'm going to check your comments and your questions here. But Erin's looking for a step-by-step template or checklist, and she's printed out just about everything in boot camp. She has about 100 pages that could be put into a checklist, but it's overwhelming, and I get that. So here's the thing, friends. I could make a checklist and it would be 100 pages long. Do this, do this, do this, check for this, make sure of this, don't do this kind of stuff. And in fact, some of the documents I've created for you are checklists. However, it's so big, and we may not be able to do it on this call, but I'm asking you to help me. Give me information. What kind of checklists would be helpful? Because is the checklist before? Is it during? Is it after the sale? How can I crank this for you? Because I want to, but I need more direction from you. So I deliver what will help you most. Because right now there's tons of PDF documents, obviously you can download and review them. But is there a way that I can also come up with literally a checklist? And maybe it's based on the stage that you're in, even presenting, winning the group. First you got to win it, right? Getting the group agreement letter signed, right? All the steps. You tell me. I need your input, your feedback, so I can deliver this to Aaron and to all of you to continue to help make this group business more doable. And I hope that helps. All right, I've got Julie here. You've got a great question here. It's about how do you pay for a group cruise with a bundled package. We've taken this on a lot of times. I want to address this again because it's always essential that you understand this and hear this, especially for our newer boot campers. And Karen D, when we want to talk about some role playing, can't do it now, but I have an idea that I'm going to share. So let me just check the boards. Hold on, friends. We've got about 15 minutes left here. So if you got any issues, questions, comments, concerns you want to share, go ahead and type them in now. And I'm glad you're here if you came in after my initial welcome. Nancy said, I just sent out updates regarding insurance coverage to the 6 people under deposit for Sicily. Nancy's got a Sicily group tour in October. Only one has purchased her insurance and flights. The others are in a wait and see mode. Then she sent a second email, an update, that the good news that the flight rates dropped slightly. No pressure to book, just staying in touch. So what I like about this, Nancy, is that you're staying engaged, you're staying positive, and you're staying on top of the rate situation, because I guarantee you, sometimes people are like on the fence. Should I go? Should I stay? Or should I go now? The Clash, 81. And if they hear that they're going to save 20 bucks, 50 bucks, or whatever the savings may be, sometimes that's enough to say, you know what? Okay, we'll go, right? Right? Sometimes just saving a few dollars, and that's, of course, that's the only reason why the suppliers on the supplier side are doing stuff like this, because they just want to make it a little more alluring, more appealing, and they also realize that people already booked, they're going to be giving money back. People already booked and had agreed to pay a higher price, and sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes you got to do it. Like in my case with a speaker, when I get that phone call, which I've already gotten. Would I do something for a reduced rate? Wow, you were already paying me this much. What do I do now? It's a slippery slope now, isn't it? Especially for a speaker. But we're all in this together, friends. And I like to be the easiest speaker to do business with in the world. And it's also a slippery slope because I believe I have to deliver a certain value. And you also have to look holistically at the situation here, which is what you're all dealing with right now. So Nancy, good for you. I appreciate you sharing that. All right, let me get to Julie here. I know what you just saw me do. I know, I just to turn the page, I licked my finger and you're laughing, but it's okay. I washed my hands. I haven't touched anything or anybody. I work from home and I'm going to have a sip of my chai tea. Sorry. Hold on. Okay. Let me just read this from Karen. Karen D said, what's new in river cruising? And that's in quotes. Has been a hot topic. My luxury clients love doing a luncheon with the BDM for 10 to 15 people. So there you go. And Karen, I'm glad you mentioned that. And Nancy, I think you do this too. And everybody, the BDMs out there, they typically love doing this if they know they can trust you. Here's what I'm saying, because I'm giving you a perspective as a former DSM BDM, which is that if I get a phone call from an owner, from one of you guys and gals, from a travel entrepreneur, and this is from the past, but the same holds true today. If I don't believe you're committed, dedicated, and are going to carry this off professionally, and I'm going to end up wasting my money and my time because, hey, I'm a family guy. Sure, you're doing this at night, and I get it, and I'm supposed to be available to you all day, all the time. But I like to be home with my kids and family, and I'm going to take this into consideration. Are you doing this the right way, or are you just gonna, just advertise and you don't have a list? It's sort of a blind general thing, and I don't think it's going to be safe. If I don't trust you, I'm going to say no. And the first one is the hardest, right? Right, Karen, all of you who do these destination nights regularly, the first one is the hardest. But once you develop a track record, once you develop success, and they see, hey, I can trust you because you know how it works. Your profession, you know how to do it. You're promoting this correctly. I don't mind putting a couple of bucks into this, and I don't mind giving up a night, because at the end of the day, your success is my success. I'll be there to help you. I want you to sell these 6 people, 8 people, 10 people, 2 people, whatever it is, because I need all the business I can get. I want to hit my goals, and you're going to help me hit my goals. And this is not your perspective. Looking at me, let's say I'm your BDM, you're looking at me saying you're going to help me hit my goals. It's a beautiful thing. So have a good plan to do a destination night, cruise night, whatever you want to call it. And to Karen's point, what's new in river cruising, I think that's great. It's a great title for an event. What's new? Because it sort of disarms me that you're going to sell something, and I know at the end of the day you might, but it says what's new, so I know what to expect. You're going to tell me what's new, and I want to know. Maybe I've river cruised before, maybe I haven't. I'm interested. Good stuff. Nancy said, wait, nope, that we've already read that. Oh, Karen said travel insurance. My new policy, this is Karen D, is that everyone who books a trip with me must purchase the insurance within 14 to 21 days, depending on insurance company, to get the CFAR. You all know what CFAR is, cancel for any reason insurance. That's right. It's got to be booked within a certain amount of days after the purchase is made. Yes, it's expensive, but I can sleep at night knowing they can cancel for any reason. More power to you, Karen. Great. That's encouraging. And I think more than ever before, I think more consumers than ever before would say it's a really good idea without hesitating. And once they buy insurance the first time, travel insurance, I think they'd be more inclined to do it going forward, and forever. Okay. Julie said, how do you pay for a group cruise with a bundled package? My concern is that there's one price that is owed to the cruise line per cabin, but the passenger doesn't know the actual price of the cabin. Do you pay with your credit card on behalf of the passengers, or do you use the client's credit card to pay for their cabins? Or another method? Well, I know everyone's going to jump in on this one because we've had this discussion. I don't recommend you ever use your own credit card with the main provider, like the cruise line. I don't recommend you do that. I recommend that if it's going to be a credit card, that it's on file directly with the supplier, versus then you'd need a merchant account to take their credit card. Then you're going to need, and merchant accounts or PayPal or Square, man, they do not look favorably on travel companies, as you know. But I think the key here to success is you've got a bundle, it's got a package, and you want to definitely favor those suppliers. In this case, you're talking cruise lines, who will allow an overpayment, right, friends? Those lines that allow an overpayment give you wiggle room to include more. So the upside is that your client is making one purchase, one credit card bill. Okay, forget about the deposit, but the final payment is on one card, and it's going to have the cruise line name on it. That's the upside. The downside, right, is that you are not going to see that money right away. You're not going to see that money until it's time to finalize it, reconcile it, or they pay out commissions, right? You're not going to see that money right away. So you need to have cash on hand, COH, cash on hand, to realize that, man, I've got to pay resort for a day. I've got to pay these other vendors, maybe the parking, the transfer company, or whatever special, the special dinner, or the t-shirts, whatever you built in to the pricing, until you get paid your commission, including the overpayment. And it's, in some cases, they're going to, the overpayment, if they're going to hit you for 3%, the credit card charge, because you're sort of using them, and it's a cost of doing business, friends. It's difficult to swallow, but you need to, because it's a cost of doing business. Because if you had your own merchant account, you're giving up the 3 points or whatever or more yourself, right? It happens either way. But you want to keep that pricing as more inclusive as possible, because you don't want that client seeing a series of different fees and charges on their credit card statement, and then they're going to get, then what if they give you a bounce back? What if they call a credit card company and they do what do you call it? You know what I'm saying? That stop payment, or they question the charge, then believe me, it's a real problem. They're going to drag you through it, and it's going to take you a while, even longer, before you get your money. So the other way to do it, which I recommend, Julie, is the deposit final payment thing. Final payment, whether the cruise line takes an overpayment or not, you can get your initial deposit perhaps by check. If you tell everybody straight up front, hey, listen, initial deposit is paid by check, made payable to my company, your company, then you can cover the cost of the real deposit that you'll send into the line, right? You can do that, and then you can parse those dollars out to pay for the excursions, whatever you've built in to make it a more inclusive bundled package. Julie, tell me if that helps you. And hang on, everybody. We've got 3.5 minutes left. Karen here. Julie, tell me if that helped. And this is your last chance, friends. If you need to post anything, please do share it now. Hang on, not dismissed yet. Karen wants to do some role playing. She wants me to be the travel advisor, and Karen or one of you to be the potential group leader. And its scenario was this. Now check this out. So the travel advisor, who's going to be me, has a great idea to do a group cruise, and we set up an appointment to chat about it. And yeah, so I'm just reading here. Sorry, friends. Karen, you've asked to do this a while. I know you're going to be down in Jamaica, and perhaps we'll be doing some group role playing there. It may not be about groups, but certainly about sales and servicing in general. So maybe we'll dedicate one whole power. Tell me if you'd like this. Let me know. What if we dedicated a whole power hour? Put the screws to me. Maybe Karen, you'd be that person. Whoever wants to, dial in, so we can do it live. I can't do it, if you're typing in. And let's see how I do. Let's see how I respond when you play the group leader, challenging me, testing me, and I'm the travel advisor trying to pitch my idea. How would I do it? That would be fun, because I don't want to just be the one to talk the talk and not walk the walk. Now, no doubt I've made plenty of sales and proposals, plenty in my time. And to be able to do this with you would be a lot of fun. Would be fun, right? Fun and educational, and I hope transformational. So let me know if you'll want to do that, and maybe we'll dedicate one whole power hour, maybe next week, we'll see, to that. But I want to make sure I'm meeting your needs. Well, listen, our time is we've got 60 seconds left. Before I go, I want to check the board, see if there's any last final thoughts, comments, questions you want to share with me. Then I'll let you know when class is dismissed. I'm glad that you came here on last minute, on a moment's notice, because I had to cancel last week, so I knew we needed to meet. I needed to meet with you. Remember, March 17th, we're going to be at a meeting at noon Eastern for our next power hour, and I look forward to going to Cancun. I'm manifesting success for the a group summit that Nexion does every year, and that's I'm going to broadcast that's April 2nd, and that'll be at 11 Eastern. But you guys can see that in Facebook. So from now on, as you know, I post these as events in Facebook, and also I provide you the link. So if you miss, well, if you're watching this right now, you didn't miss it. You're watching the replay. But I do put all the replays, the links are in Facebook. So it's just the most convenient, simple way for you to go and access them. I want to thank you all for sending in your comments, questions, for your great patience, and I want to applaud your efforts as you deal with the craziness of the world today. This too shall pass, and right now, friends, we're all being measured on how we handle this. Right now, we're being watched and measured, and the degree or lack thereof of bounce back business is going to be based on our display or lack thereof of leadership skills right now. Matthew says, I think the role play is a good idea. Cool. We're going to do it. Thanks, Matthew. Welcome. Glad you're here. And Karen said, I think a whole session on it would be great. All right, you got it. And that's time, friends. That's time. So officially, class dismissed. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Be well.